Okay, hello everyone, welcome, and welcome to all of those who are on the virtual presentation. My name's Francis Smith. I'm from Landcare Serpentine, Jarrahdale. You'll probably see throughout my presentation the mention of SJ. SJ is Serpentine, Jarrahdale, and I'm going to be talking about community mental health. Before I start, I'd like to acknowledge that I'm on Gadigal land, the Gadigal lands of the Eora Nations, and I want to acknowledge their elders, past, present and emerging. And I'd also like to thank Brendan Karen for the Welcome to Country and Smoking ceremony. I've been on Gadigal land a number of times. This is the first time I've been welcomed to that country, and the smoking ceremony was really fabulous. Throughout the conference, there's been a lot of reflection on wellbeing and on Landcare's contribution to our wellbeing. Pam Robinson said that Landcare supports mental health through community connection. Claire O'Rourke said Landcare healing people, not just the planet. Urban Landcare in the ACT, Miranda Gardner indicated that there's $13 million in health costs saved through participation in Landcare activities, and their research of their volunteers showed that 90% had a mental wellbeing benefit through their participation. And then this morning, Dr. Ian Creswell was talking about the state of the environment report, which has just been released. And basically, in that report, it said that environmental decline is affecting the wellbeing of Australians, but that land stewardship increased that wellbeing. So, to be honest, it's really shown that Landcare, that wellbeing, mental wellbeing, is inherent in Landcare activities. We work on Binjarra Budja. Budja is a Noongar word for land. And we're about 60 kilometres south of Perth. Wrong one. Oh, what's going on? There we go. The star actually represents the project area. Perth is up there, and we're about 60 k's south. And while acknowledging that we're on Gadigal lands, I also acknowledge that we work on Binjarra Budja, and I pay my respects to their elders, past, present and emerging, and also to all First Nations people who are joining us here today. Landcare SJ is a community association, not-for-profit. We've had a 20-year funding and delivery partnership with our local government, the Shire of Serpentine, Jarrahdale. Interesting to hear about the soils advocate in Western Australia. Since the 70s, there's been land conservation district committees, and we've also worked, Landcare SJ worked with the local SJ LCDC, and we work in the Peel Harvey catchment. Okay. Our values at Landcare SJ are that people are at the heart of all community matters, and they are critical to our success. And respecting people, improving the quality of living, appreciating and supporting cultural differences, and being good stewards of the land, air, water, flora and fauna are our core principles. Our activities include delivering local, state and federal government priorities. And we do this through community events, on-ground activities, education. We work with schools and local environmental land care groups. We sort of coordinate for our region. We undertake contract work, including mine site revegetation. We share knowledge and facilitate the sharing of knowledge. And in this photo, we've got the local volunteer fire brigades working with the Noongar Rangers in knowledge sharing, or kartajin, Noongar word for knowledge or learning. One of the other things that we do at Landcare SJ is manufacture and distribute the cockatoo artificial nest box for black cockatoos. We've been working this project since 2005. We've got an optimal artificial hollow for black cockatoos, or West Australian black cockatoos, and they've been used on the East Coast since the 2019 and 2020 bushfires. Okay, so we sort of spoke a little bit about land care and mental well-being, and why is well-being inherent in land care? Because of volunteering, because of the participation, the learning, the sharing, the contribution, achieving and reflecting. But there's other things like tree hugging, and there's forest bathing, and we know it's a thing. And there's also that connection to Mother Budja, to Mother Earth, that putting your hand in the soil. There's a strong benefit that comes from that. But our board, the board of Landcare SJ, determined that they wanted to do a specifically address mental well-being in the community. And we piggybacked on Are You OK Day, because it's established and we all know what it's about. We all know to ask, are you okay? Are you okay? And their simple message is to listen without judgment, to encourage action and to check in. And for us, Are You OK Day, Are You OK Planting Day and Morning Tea became our focus to specifically address community mental health. So we looked for a long-term community-driven project to protect and enhance environmental values in an accessible location with picturesque natural beauty, nature's soundtrack. We added in hearty sustenance, and we took a whole of community target market approach to our event. The Gurulong Valley in Jarrahdale is a place where the early colonialists in the Swan River colony went to harvest jarrah. The jarrah that was sent back to line the streets of England. It's a stunning place. This is an old mill town, and there's plenty of scope for environmental conservation. It's also home to mainland quokkas. Quokkas don't just come from Rottnest Island, my friends. They were right across the continent at one stage, and there's a remnant population in that northern Jarrah forest. But the northern Jarrah forest is under threat. It's under threat from mining, and I've just thrown this one in to alert you to the fact that there's people out there like the Jarrahdale Forest Protectors who are out to save our jarrah. They're actually felling that land, clearing it completely, removing the resource and rehabilitating it. But how can those endemic species grow back when we've taken out of the soil the minerals, the chemicals that make them endemic? But back to Are You OK Day. So the site we chose in Gurulong Valley, there's a lot of weed in there, a lot of blackberry, arum lily, but one of the worst weeds, there's lantana, but there's a woody weed, black wattle, and you can see in those photos, you can see some of that beautiful yellow flower. Well, it's absolutely dense. And this was the project site in April and September 2021. The community are heavily involved in this project, and they basically work there every week to clear some of that black wattle, and they do some burning, or we've got the local government at the moment working on cutting and chipping, and we've had contractors come in as well. You can see they stack it up nice and neatly. Now, this is the project site in the community that we're working with. And an unexpected benefit, an unexpected wellbeing benefit, is that some of that timber is delivered to the elderly citizens of that village, the Jarrahdale township, and it's available. There's an extra resource. That waste resource isn't just burnt or chipped; it actually goes to help the community. So there's a lot of people involved in preparing the site. Now, we chose Are You OK Day. It's in September, right? It's either going to be sunny or it's going to be bucketing down, right? And we've had so much luck with this event. It's been fantastic, except for last year. 15 degrees, 35 millimetres of rain. But the success of this event was really highlighted in those horrible weather conditions when 80 people turned up. And they turned up, and to be honest, it's called Planting Day and Morning Tea. We're really there for a conversation. And the planting is guys, you get that benefit, you put your hand in the soil, you get that well-being, you get the well-being from all the people being around, but it comes to the morning tea. We've had a lot of support from politicians, business, local government, community, suppliers. I basically contact everyone I know, everyone I've dealt with in the last year. And it's interesting because some of the things we've heard over the course of the conference is you actually need to invite people, and perhaps that's why we had 80 people come along in the rain last year, I don't know. They had a good time though. I was talking to one of our colleagues, one of our community leaders, and she was saying, how is it that you get so many young blokes come to your event? And the truth is, we invite industries where there are young men, like the local tyre fitter, the arborists who have teams of young guys, and they come and they plant and they talk and they all ask, are you okay? And the newbies who come for a first time, they sort of rock up and they say, are you okay? You know, but it's a serious subject. And by the end of the morning, there's not so much giggling. There's actually those conversations have been started. And what's better than after putting a few plants in to have a scone with jam? And now you can see that little pot of jam there, right? That pot of jam was made from that mulberry tree just over in the corner there. And we get the community to support, and so they put on the morning tea. It's like CWA gone to heaven, to be honest, and everyone loves it. And so we stop work after an hour. Or we haven't really even started work, to be honest, and we're having a cup of tea. Well, that's going to make you feel good, and it does. It gets that conversation going, and it helps you to reconnect with those people that you might have met last year. And we have a lot of people who come every year to this event. So the event provides the community with a greater cohesion and resilience. It's through that conversation, it's through that collaboration, it's through that firewood, it's through that discussion in the weeks before the event where the community are working out what they're actually going to make, to bring. And there's this a great cohesion. The event recognises the importance of participants caring for their own mental well-being, right? And to gain the skills to assist others, because if they're there for the first time, maybe they don't have that skill, but the second and third time, they're actually asking people, well, how are you? Are you okay? Yeah, what's been happening? And it really is working. And they're able to check in. And I've had people ring me after the event and say, listen, you know, I'm not really okay. And like, I don't have those skills. I'm an accountant, to be honest. But you have a chat and you keep that conversation going, and they're able to assist others in the future, because it's about the listening and the hearing. It's an accessible location. The site location is highly accessible. It's a parkland, and we all know that if you plant a tree, you know exactly which tree you planted, and you can come back next year, 5 years, 10 years. Tanya Plibersek's dad took her back to a tree he planted 40 years ago. And you can come to this park and you can sit in this park and you can reflect on your achievements and the collaborative achievements, and there's a great sense of well-being in that. There's also anticipation, and we probably all know that anticipation is often better than the event. So I invite you all to join us at Gurralong Brook, my friends here, on Thursday, September 8th. That's just 2 weeks from today. And we'll show you a good time, and we'll look after you. We'll show you our hospitality. We'll have a conversation and a cup of tea and a scone with jam that's just made from that tree just over there. And hopefully we'll see you the next year and the next year after that. And it'd be great if we could have more of these days. You know, we talk about National Tree Day, there's the Big Bush Day. Are You OK Day is ideal for addressing community wellbeing through a Landcare project. One of the amazing things is you will not be short of people who want to sponsor your event. A lot of people want to get on and they have a duty of care for the wellbeing of their staff or friends or whatever, and they do support us very well, and I thank each and every one of them. That's my presentation. Thank you.
How about this one? That okay? Thank you, Francis. That was terrific. I think a trip across to the west to join you on your planting day is an excellent idea. I only request that you do something about the weather and make sure that if we go that it'll be fine and sunny, not too hot, not
I
too
can
cold.
give you a guarantee today that the weather will be fine.
I have witnesses. That's fantastic.
That's right.
So we'll all be there.
Bring them all.
Does anyone have any questions for Francis? There's one up here.
Yeah, hi there, Bruce from Brisbane. I do a bit of work in the health space, and great talk. What I thought, Bubble, maybe you should call in the army. I'm not talking about the guys that are shooting the guns at the moment. The guys have given up and are being talked about the inquiry into suicides in the military.
There was actually in Jarrahdale, in the town where the event is held, they do have a facility there, accommodation facility for veterans, yes, and it's a good idea, and we do try and get the message out as far as we can. And look, to be honest, everyone is welcome. It's not a closed thing at all. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Sophie from North East Victoria. Thanks for your talk. That was great. I've got lots of thoughts and trying to think what I can achieve in 2 weeks before Are You OK Day.
Just book a plane trip over.
Have you thought about, like you talked about how you bring so many different groups and demographics of people to be involved on the day? Have you ever contacted like psychologists and things like that directly to have them on site on the day, or some of those people with those skills to start some conversations?
Yes, we've thought about it. No, we haven't acted on it. Do you know, I know myself that complete strangers have come up to me and just opened up about their issues, and to be honest, I've probably done it to complete strangers myself, right? And what's interesting about the event is it's often the complete strangers that give you the best outlet, because they don't know you. You might see them again this time next year, right, where they're going to check in and say, "Are you okay?" And next year you can probably say, or hopefully you can say yes, right? How big do we want to make it? I think, you know, we could run this event for a whole week, but let's just have a planting day and morning tea. Let's keep it simple. Let's attract the business, and we have to keep it short for that, because they're losing money while their staff are on our site. Yeah.
Thanks for that. It was a great talk, and I think it's a really fantastic initiative. I'm down in Tasmania. I think one of the revelations that we've had as a Landcare organisation around the state in the last year or so has been that 50% of Tasmanian adults are functionally illiterate, and the proportion of people in that cohort actually have a higher mental health issue problem going on. Have you had any targeted campaigns or partners in terms of literacy? And the other part is there like a low socio type targeting thing that you've been able to do, or what's the demographic of your population, I guess? By the way, I think the rest of the country is at about between 40 and 50%, if you didn't know that.
Right.
For adults.
No, we don't specifically address literacy and numeracy issues. It's a difficult one, and I think there are programs that do address those issues in the community. I've also found that people whose skills, literacy and numeracy skills are low, have very good adaptation methods to not display that. So, and I can understand why perhaps that might give you some wellbeing issues. So, to the second part of your question about the demographics, the event's on a Thursday morning, right? So it's a very difficult time because most people are at work or at school or something like that. I know we have some homeschoolers who come and attend. We have the politicians and their office come to attend, the local government. So there's a range of people who come. It's the people who are sort of within our community as far as we can promote and as far as we can encourage their participation. So it ranges. Now, if you have a look at that, our poster boy for this year, that's Athol Wigg. He's with us today. He's a land carer of 70 years or more. And to be honest, I had some issues, and Athol used to ring me every day, twice a week. He'd ring me. "Are you okay, Francis? Are you okay?" And if I wasn't okay, I'd get 5 calls that week, all right? Until I was okay, and this went on for quite a long time. And to be honest, it's a real honour to be here with Athol, a land carer for all those years, and it's really great for me to express my appreciation to him by making him our poster boy this year. Thanks, Athol, you're a legend, mate.
Any more questions then? You are, Ethel. You need the microphone, Ethel.
Yes. I suppose my cover's blown now.
Sorry, Athol.
And I was going to ask a question from the side. Francis, there's more to this community collaboration that's a key part of the Are You OK? The cohesion, the collaborating. And I know that the Landcare Centre does some other works involving lots of people from the community involved in the construction of those cockatoo, the nesting boxes for the endangered species. And I think that's just as, not just as important, but a very important part that we've got people coming in, contributing, taking part in working bees. And at the end of the day, we know that we're going to give a home to a displaced black cockatoo. It's pretty important.
Yes, thanks, Athol. And it's actually not just the Black Cockatoo project or the Are You OK Day, it's all of the little projects that we do. And they all build, and sometimes this community member can't come on these days, or that person can't come, or whatever the case is. But it's those little building blocks. And one of the examples that I put up was that we do mine site revegetation. So we employ local people for that. It gives them an income, but in actual fact, it brings them into land care, and they have a wellbeing effect from that. Like, every time we do some re-veg on these big sites, they say, are we actually getting paid for this? Because it's such a good thing. And I think that's the beauty of land care, and those well-being traits, or those well-being, that feeling of well-being is inherent in everything we do. And it is because of the inclusiveness, I'm sure. Yeah. Thanks.
Okay, I think we'll need to draw the session to a close so that you can all go and wrangle a cup of tea. But let me thank, through you, on your behalf, thank Francis and Athol. Merely hearing about your story has made me feel better, so it's having an effect from far away. So thank you very much.
To be honest,
the
best thing about Are You OK is it's okay not to be okay, right? That's part of their messaging. It's okay not to be okay, and we can talk about that, and we can talk through that. Yeah.
Good on you. Okay, thank you very much.